So has WWE dropped the ball when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship? Let's look back for just a second here. April 24th, 2023, Triple H unveils the new rebirth of the World Heavyweight title. The title was going to be on Raw, and it was an exclusive there because Roman Reigns had the Undisputed Championships all locked up. So at Night of Champions, we crowned the first inaugural World Champion in Seth Rollins, and he went up against AJ Styles. So it seemed like when they initially had Seth become champion, and he held the belt for a very long time, and Seth held the belt for just over 300 days. Seemed like they were trying to position the world title as something big. They were trying to push it as not a mid-card title, but something that is going to try and compete with the Undisputed Championship as best they could. Because let's be honest, it's Roman's belt and it's Cody's belt. That's the title. And even today, it really feels like that is the belt of all belts. So when Seth had his world title reign, I enjoyed it. I thought it brought some fresh air into the divisions. You get different challengers in there, and I thought that they put on good matches, and it was becoming that workhorse title, kind of like the Intercontinental title. And so when we had Seth versus Drew at WrestleMania 40 and night 2 opening the show, Drew's title reign did not last exactly very long because you had CM Punk sitting ringside on commentary, got involved, shenanigans, the breakdown, and then Damian Priest came in and cashed in his Money in the Bank and won the World Heavyweight Championship. And you know what? It was a cool moment, and I thought, wow, you're going to be giving the world title to somebody new in Damian Priest, someone we haven't seen in that position before, and it thought, okay, it's going to create some interesting stories. Let's see how this goes. So as Priest had the world title, as the weeks kind of went by, that's when I started to feel like the title isn't as top priority as the other belt. And by the way, this is no knock to like Damian Priest or even Gunther that we will talk about shortly. It's really just the creative and the positioning of this title belt. When you had the likes of Seth and Drew and Punk all kind of flirting with it, wanting it, having the belt, then you're like, wow, you really have top WWE superstars wanting to get this belt and wanting to go after it. Even Punk talked later in a promo to Seth Rollins being like, I don't want to fight you because I only wanted to fight you because you had the World Heavyweight Championship. So even there, you're like, there was motivation for even CM Punk to want that title. So when Damian Priest lost the world title to Gunther at SummerSlam, number one, I thought that their original matches were very good. So when Gunther became the World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam, I almost thought, okay, this is probably the right move in the right direction because look at Gunther's Intercontinental reign, longest reigning IC champion. They took Gunther off TV for a while. He came back and he won King of the Ring, and then he built himself back up very quickly and then won the world title. So they put Gunther in a very dominant position where he's running through everybody. The issue I had with all the builds though was that Gunther and Damian Priest were both kind of heels. Priest was becoming the babyface, teaming up with Rhea Ripley, and they shifted away from Judgment Day. So you had a babyface Damian Priest eventually, but then he lost the title. And so at first I thought, okay, Gunther with the title, this is awesome. Are they gonna do though another full year reign? Because on paper, you'd probably say he should because he dominated the IC title. Why wouldn't he do that here? And if you have Gunther drop the title, doesn't that just make him look very weak? And I think that's part of what the issue has been, is that you've got Gunther in this kind of rock and a hard place. Now, the other thing that is the issue, I think, with the world title and Gunther's reign specifically is how they started to really tweak Gunther's character, and they made him kind of a shell of himself. He was going back and fighting Damian Priest, and he was dealing with Judgment Day. And while all this was going on, Jey Uso and Sammy and like all of these little feuds where Gunther has like this little confidence issue where he's not sure if he can pull it off, and he's like geeking out wins against people. Gunther's whole IC reign was him being dominant, like just owning the ring, being the ring general, and we weren't getting that with the world title scene. The other thing that where I think WWE has kind of failed with this world title is it's not positioned very highly. If you fast forward a little bit, I think one of the turning points in a bad way for the world title was when Gunther went up against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. They went after the mega title, the big Crown Jewel title, which melts and morphs into a ring that the winner gets. You had your two world champions fighting, and they were fighting for this made up thing. And Cody Rhodes won, obviously. He beat Gunther in the ring. Pyro, it's Saudi, it's everyone's happy with Cody Rhodes, and then Gunther is left to go off and do whatever Gunther was going to do. I think that that was kind of the moment where things started to slip a little bit more for the world title and for Gunther. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made if you had Gunther win at Saudi. He could at least then say he beat Cody Rhodes. He is top champion, but he's not billed as top champion. Not like Cody. Gunther matches are on Raw. They are middle of the card sometimes on a PLE, or they're not on a PLE. And so one of the big issues I have with how WWE's handled this world title is it's also just not on any of the big shows for the main event. And it's not given main event story. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, that is a main event storyline. A lot of elements, a lot of intrigue, a lot of different characters involved in this. There's threads of storylines week to week, and I get it. Cody is the top, he's Mr. WWE. I totally get it. But then you have on the opposite side, you have Gunther with this world title, and he's just kind of going through opponent after opponent every week where the stories don't have much substance. And I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments, is that an issue of the creative, the writing? Is it Gunther not being able to, as a character, being able to, pull that and pull people in to care a lot? I think it's hard sometimes when you have a character like Gunther who is just dominant ring general wrestler. Like, he's a very good in-ring wrestler. I love his matches, but he is not the type of character that gets involved in these deep storylines like a Cody storyline. And I think they tried to do that with Gunther having a lack of confidence, and then that didn't work, so now they're back to him being more dominant. But I think you're telling the audience too, like, you're not main eventing this belt on any show. Saturday night's main event, it was the second to last thing. The Cody segment was the main event moment, and I get it. It's Cody Rhodes, it's Kevin Owens, it's going to the Royal Rumble for the Undisputed Championship, but you are telling the audience this is way more important than this belt. And every other show, it's not main eventing stuff. It's not main eventing SummerSlam, Backlash, or anything else, and it's not in the Royal Rumble. And there's a lot of PLEs where it's not even there. And so I think it gets hard for the audience to feel like this world title really matters. And I feel like at this point, just me, I feel like at this point, the World Heavyweight Championship is starting to go down to a level of like Intercontinental title, where not a lot of the top stars are going to want this thing. And by top stars, I mean your Drew McIntyres, your Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Like, nobody at the very top of the build wants that belt. And as we were leading into the Royal Rumble, you had CM Punk and Cody Rhodes do a confrontation, and it was awesome. Like, it was one of my favorite things. It made me want to see this match. I felt invested in it. But man, it really just kind of kicked the world title away, because Punk is clearly going after the Undisputed Championship, which he should. As a storyline and character, that's the main title. That's the biggest thing. That is the shiny one. The world title is not that. Now, granted, when you had that promo on Raw with Seth and Logan Paul and Gunther in the ring, great segment. And you do have Seth talking about he wants his world title back. That's good. He wants what he had. Gunther is keeping it warm for him. You sprinkle in a Logan Paul. You got people that actively want that title. But I think that this has been one of the issues, is that bigger stars, bigger than Seth, are not clamoring for that belt. And on top of it, you're not having the world title main event anything, and the storylines are kind of middle of the road. So I don't know what you do to fix it, honestly, other than would it help if WWE in 2025, after WrestleMania, you actually saw some of the shows, the PLEs, main event with the world title, and you shake up who has the World Heavyweight Championship. Because eventually, if it comes off Gunther and it goes to a Logan Paul, a Jey Uso, a Sami Zayn, any of those guys, it's great. Great exposure. Love to see them with the world title, but it's not main eventing a pay-per-view, right? Cody, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, those guys with the Undisputed Championship, if they're on the card, like, that's your main event show and storyline. So be it. But I don't think it's helped. And I think Gunther's reign, I feel like it's gone on too long. And in some ways, WWE has done a good job with, hot potatoing the world title. It hasn't been locked up in these, 2-year reigns and crazy reigns where it's just year to year. Granted, they did that initially with Seth's reign with it, but they were trying to establish it and make it big. Now, when you have Drew and you had Damian Priest and you had Gunther mixing it up with it. I think by the time Gunther got it, they shouldn't have waited so long to switch it up, because now it's WrestleMania season and I just don't care that much about the world title. And I think it's a problem because Cody and whoever has the Undisputed Championship, they're not on TV every single week, or they're not wrestling every single month on the show. You need a world title built up properly. And this has always kind of been the issue with WWE whenever they've tried to do two main titles, WWE Championship and the world title. One is taking a back road and back seat. For a while, like years and years ago now, the world title was main title. And then WWE Championship was just an afterthought. And we're seeing it all kind of creep up again. And this is where I'm like, oh, I like how WWE is operating nowadays, but there are still glaring problems. Like if Gunther drops this title to Logan Paul or freaking Goldberg, we're in trouble. But what do you think? What needs to happen with the World Heavyweight Championship? And has WWE kind of failed with it so far? Let me know. Have a great day. See ya.